Hey, I'd love to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest of the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today's guest is Kevin Collins. He's CEO over at Secret Walls. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here.
All right, man. So I've been looking forward to this and looking forward to learning more about the project. So I've been checking it out over at secretwalls.world. So we're going to get into that and much more. But before we do, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Kevin, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, entertainers, and other business owners that we feel need to be heard. That's our mission. Kevin, what mission matters to you?
Well, here at Secret Walls, we're all about supporting your local artist. You know, that as the driving force, the center of gravity of what we do at Secret Walls couldn't be more important. So that silo mentality that we call it really pushes us to think differently about the arts, how we open up rooms, how we build stages, who we gather, how we build community. I think that kind of silo mentality, support your local artists, for us is what pushes us to do what we do at the level and scale of which we do it, and drives us and kind of really defines our mission.
Man, that's awesome. Great to have you on, and I love bringing on mission-based individuals to share why they do what they're doing, how they do it, and really what we can all learn from that. So good to have you on. And I guess just to get us kicked off here, the idea for Secret Walls, like how did all that come about?
It's a great story. My partner, Terry Guy, founded Secret Walls in the streets of London back in 2006, very much at a time when, the global contemporary art scene, the street art scene, the graffiti scene was, still under the cover of darkness. There wasn't space for the arts. This was, pre-Banksy and before Exit to the Gift Shop and everything that's come since. But, really found an opportunity in a space and gathering the arts community to engage, in the creative process and the journey of these artists in new and unique ways. So launched these live paint battles over 90 minutes as a centerpiece for just a new way of engaging, bringing raw energy of the art space with a competitive edge into a burgeoning, growing global art scene. So it really came out of space making, I think, simply put, and trying to, organize ways new ways, I should say, for the art scene to be explored, discovered, and rallied around.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great story. And for those that, let's go a little bit deeper. For those that maybe don't know what a paint battle is, like let's start there. Yeah. They might be like, wait a minute, paint battle? What is that?
I know. It's really funny. I mean, it's like I jokingly say to friends and family, and it's 90 minutes of watching paint dry, but it's so much more than that. I mean, it's being at the chef's table of your favorite restaurant. It's sitting in the room with a creator, watching ingredients come together. And for us, that plate, that table is the canvas. And so we bring global contemporary artists into rooms with live audiences, and we put 90 minutes on a clock, and artists create freestyle, one-of-one paintings over the course of that hour and a half. And, they're voted on at the end. There's guest judges, there's a crowd vote, there's an MC, a DJ, merch, all the things you would want in an amazing night out, amazing new live experience, with the centerpiece being the creative process. There's no sketching, there's no pencils, everything is freestyle, everything is freehand. There's something very powerful about watching some of the biggest contemporary artists in the world like face an audience and do it in a live setting. Typically this stuff is done in an isolated studio, see the finished product in a gallery, everything in between, but rarely are you in the room smelling the paint, watching the process, and being able to be, in a room watching a one-of-one get created.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe the evolution of this? I think it goes back to 2006, and I'm just trying to picture in my head, like, these artists, you're trying to get them to come together, or, at some point, and you're like, we're going to do it in front of a crowd, and there's going to be a DJ, and there's going to be this and that or whatever. Like, how did this thing evolve into the juggernaut it is now? How did that happen?
I think it was, and I was lucky enough to be a fan early. Like, I happened to trip into a battle at the Village Underground in London in Shoreditch in like 2011, meet Terry.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so it was just coming up, and just kind of turning into this global phenomenon. I mean, it was really, I don't think, and I think like every amazing story, it wasn't planned this way. I think it was meant to be, let's throw a party, let's bring the arts together. And then very quickly, when you realized the importance of bringing artists into a room, not just like the fan engagement and the competitive side, like that was the hook, that was fun, but it was meeting one another. It was the ability to like form crews, to lean on each other, to kind of use Secret Walls as a catalyst to, build a community that a lot of these artists didn't realize they needed for inspiration, for, checking themselves on ideas, for new opportunities, new installations, new, brand deals or commercial opportunities and all that stuff in between. So what was meant to be this, a one-off party really, truly became this universe for artists to come together and in a fun, celebratory way, and to, bring fans around them in unique and exciting ways. But I think the arts community is the reason why it took off the way it did so quickly. Secret Walls went east before it came west. So we kind of toured Europe and Asia before moving to the U.S. and, at the end of 2017, started 2018. So, I think the global nature, we've been in 50 countries, 150 cities, thousands of battles and academies and workshops and everything in between has, been very humbling and in all the best ways. And it's so reassuring that what we're doing makes a difference for so many artists in the career journey that they have.
What do you think is kind of the secret sauce that keeps people coming back and that has made this successful? And the reason I ask this question is because there's other entrepreneurs out there. We're hearing this term of community building and creating communities like that. We're both online and offline. Like I think, post COVID, that's been a really hot topic and buzz. And, there's secrets and there's things that you've been able to do to keep this community together. Any tips or things that you can think of that have made this successful might help some others in building their own communities, whether it's in art related or otherwise.
Yeah. I think there's an authenticity in what we do. I talk a lot about like, what are you doing when nobody's watching? And, I would argue what we do behind the scenes, the way we ask questions first to the arts community. We talk to them about brand partnerships that are coming forward or different rooms we want to open up. We try our best to stay always on, to explore new opportunities and to really talk to the artists in a way that feels like we're not just assuming anything. And I think there's, you're right, like the community building buzzwords are everywhere right now.
Yeah.
I think, what Secret Walls has done and the reason it's become successful is because we give a shit. Like we do very much care about, how we go to market. And we want to make sure that we're not taking anything for granted because, each room is a new opportunity to unlock the arts for that city. And we need to, hold that and work with care in how we go to market in all those rooms in all those cities, and opening up the dialogue, staying always on with artists, asking them questions, soliciting their feedback is how you build community and trust. And, not for nothing, we're part of their, their career journeys and their families, you know, crash on our couches, like travel with us, like all that stuff in between, is so important. And community isn't something you tell people to be a part of. It's something that happens naturally, organically when like-minded people rally around the same campfire. And that's what we've done. And we'll nurture it and treat it with the utmost care and respect.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I don't think it can be underestimated, the concept of authenticity, and that your community can tell. Like they can tell what you're doing. They can tell, if something's on brand or off brand, if you're just throwing something against the wall to see if it sticks. Like they can tell. And it takes so long to build trust within a community, but you can lose it real quick, quick by doing something silly or taking a brand deal or something else that's just not right. So it takes decades of delivering, and you can lose it real quick, the trust.
Real quick. Yeah, real quick. Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about your role as CEO. First off, approximately how long have you been CEO?
So I joined formally at the start of 2022. So I come out of 20 years in the creative agency world, holding companies. For the past, I'd say since 2011, when I went to my first battle, I've been supporting, moonlighting, working with Terry in the background.
I love stories like this, by the way, with somebody's like, you were a fan at first and participant and like everything else. And then, they roped you in at some point.
Well, I think,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think we were coming out of COVID. Like it was, life was changing for me. There was this, and artists were leading us all back to Main Street, right? They were tinkering with the new technology. They were like celebrating the power of local storytelling and the power of community, and so you could just see this sort of like burgeoning, like the reimagination of the art space. And I was pretty bullish when thinking about Secret Walls in that context and the opportunity where I think this is the moment to jump over, because I'd always, I was toying with the idea for so long, and Terry was growing it in a great way, and it just felt like a good time to jump over and support and see what our next horizon point could be. So I spent, 20 years in the agency world running sport, culture, entertainment brands from Nike to Beats by Dre to, all the leagues and everything in between. So kind of sport at the center of what I do, and just brought all of that over to Secret Walls to see how I could take what I was good at and bring it into the arts community. And you're right, you just made a point on, one wrong brand deal. Like I'm now the commercial guy, right? Like I've got this agency background. I need to really stop and make sure that as we grow, we're growing the right way with the artists around us, and that everything makes sense. So I have to, over communicate with the arts community as kind of the new guy of like, does this brand deal make sense for you, for us? Do you want to be in a room like this? How does this, before we say yes to anything, I need to make sure, I'm pulling the art community that supports us, empowers us as well. And so I'm not kind of taking that for granted. But, I think we're pushing into a really fun, exciting time for what Secret Walls can be. And, the art of competition, we're on tour right now. I think there's this kind of whole world that we're unlocking right now that is exciting to watch happen.
Yeah. So speaking of partnerships or even marketing strategies, I mean, any successful marketing strategies that you've implemented that you could share, or just notable partnerships along the way?
Yeah, I think I came into the role with the goal of kind of finding partnerships that weren't just projects or one-offs, and really like deeply rooting, like we're supporting the arts. Here's why we want to support it through Secret Walls. Here's why. And so, we're lucky enough to be going to market with Monster Energy and Posca Paint Markers, Uniball. And, there's some really fun new brand announcements that we'll make here shortly where, it's brands that are authentically supporting the scene as well. They are brands that, are in a lot of our rooms already. They're brands that share community with us, so that when we do show up, it doesn't feel like, we're forcing a logo onto a stage or onto a T-shirt, which, isn't a good look. It looks like it wasn't thought through and or, doesn't land the way anybody wants it to. So we're trying to be really careful and thoughtful in how we go to market. But I think we're, really organizing the story that we tell as well. And I think the strategy for me was, if we're building the house, and kind of the front door of the house is our battle universe. It's what we've become known for. It's, it's this really exciting, visceral way in to the arts. Once you're in the house, though, there's this infinite space to play, with Secret Walls, whether it's Secret Walls Academy, which is our workshop, kind of curriculum-led programming that focuses on aspiring artists and next generation. It's, Secret Walls as an agency partner where we're helping bridge the gap between artists and big brands for through-the-line campaigns. It's, it's a lot of different ways to program with us, and I think reframing the story that way was helpful, and I think it gives, brands and partners like a clearer way in and how to program with us.
Correct me if I'm off here. Is your headquarters in LA?
We are. Yeah. We're in Koreatown, Harvard Heights, right on the corner of Venice and Western. We've got a beautiful property, mural yard, warehouse, white box gallery, coffee shop.
Man, I thought you were, because when I saw the intake form, I'm like, wait a minute, they're in LA. How come I haven't been to one of these things yet? I'm right there downtown across from the Grammy Museum, so we're a couple miles away from each other. This is awesome. What kind of events and what kind of things do you have going on?
We program quite a range. Right now we're out
Yeah.
on tour, so we're all across the country. But typically there's, we'll host a battle a month. We host a lot of Secret Walls Academy workshops out of HQ. We help, program a lot of culture-led events as well, from So Far Sounds, comedy nights to, everything in between. So it's very much an epicenter, especially in that neighborhood, for the creative arts scene on a number of different levels.
It's a great neighborhood. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great neighborhood, and we're excited to see what more we can do with the space. So we've got some plans to, keep leveling up, especially as LA comes more and more into focus, from World Cups to Olympics and everything in between. What we can stand for.
So speaking of being on tour, talk maybe a little bit more about the strategy and like what you're doing to continue to expand globally. Like, talk about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're trying to ensure that when we and how we expand, that it's done, kind of the theme of the conversation, done the right way, done authentically, that we're not just spraying programming into the, into the world and hoping it sticks, but rather doing it with care and ensuring that it lands in these markets the right way. So I think, a great example of us being out on our North American tour right now, which is the second iteration of taking our IP out on the road to, major markets across the country, and ultimately expanding this back into Europe and Asia in a bigger way, is, it's making sure that we are kind of always thinking of new creative ways to program cities. So the tour that we're on right now isn't just a battle sequence, which was what it was in 2022. We toured 30 markets in 60 days. It was a grind. It was all battles. We were in and out. This time we're going in, and on day one, we've got a Secret Walls Academy, workshop somewhere in the city. We're hosting artist dinners, bringing everyone together to break bread, beyond just the battles. And then we'll have the battle sequence usually on the second night. There's a lot of merch, pop-up retail, and all that good stuff in between that comes on tour with us. So we're trying to, perfect the platform. And then as we got it, fine-tune, start bringing it into some of these more global markets. We're testing programming down in Bogota, Colombia, with a really wonderful partner of ours down there, and just looking at kind of how everything retranslates, because we've been in all these cities across the world, and programmed everywhere, but as we restate some of this IP, that when we go back into market, that it translates the way we hope it will.
Man, this is awesome. I'm excited to continue to follow this story, see what's up with Secret Walls, and when you head back, I'm definitely gonna come. I'm definitely gonna come and check it out. I might have to shoot some content down there. This would be a lot of fun. That being said, Kevin, if somebody's listening or watching this and they want to learn more and they want to connect, I guess I'd ask you from two different sides here. Brand partnerships, that'd be maybe one angle. Another angle, artists and fans. Like, how does everybody connect?
Yeah, well, first, secretwalls.world, there's a artist sign-up page. We get, dozens of portfolios a week submitted. And it's not just battles. Like I said, it's, it's direct-to-brand programming. It's hosting academies or workshops. There's a lot of different ways to interact with Secret Walls. My email is kevin@thesecretwalls.com. I do a lot of the frontline work with brand partnerships and kind of organizing deals that make sense for our universe and the artists within it and our programming. At Secret Walls on Instagram, we're, pretty active. That's kind of our main platform. We're pushing more into TikTok and a few others as well. But please come check us out, DM us, follow us.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Well, Kevin, again, appreciate you coming on the show today. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll put the links to the website and the show notes, so you can just click on the link and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along in your journey. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Kevin, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Adam.